So extensions are like packaged code which are created by Adobe and provide us some functionality for creating a tag or forwarding any data. So we have extension for Adobe Analytics, we have extension for Adobe Target, then we have various third-party pixel tags as well. So if we want to integrate Facebook, LinkedIn Insight tag, all those are available as extension. You just need to provide some like account ID data to it to integrate these third-party pixels. So extension with them we can add new data elements and also use it in rules. We have to define different like event conditions and exception. Event is when should a rule be fired. If we want to track some data on page view, I'll set the event to be on page load. Then I can give a condition that where should this rule fire. Should it fire on all the pages or just on certain pages? I can give that condition. And then if I don't want to fire it at some place, I'll give an exception. So all these things are available because of extension. So there's a very important extension called core. Whenever I create a new property, it's included by itself. Like Adobe provides that core extension by default. So that's there, but for other extension like Adobe Analytics, you need to install it. So I'll show you how to use this extension in Rule and how to download. So this is the installed extension which is available by Adobe. And this is very important. It allows us to select any event and also do some actions. So now let's go to Adobe Analytics, the purpose why we created this property. So I'll search for Adobe Analytics. Yeah, this one. I'll select install. Here I have to give my report suite name. So I'll give a dev report suite. First, you have to create the report suite. We have already seen how to create report suite in Adobe Analytics. Here, all the report suites that are there in your account will show, and you just need to select. And so you'll have different report suite for each environment: development, staging, and production. You can select different report suite. And then there is a tool called as activity map. Not exactly like a different tool, but it's a sub functionality you can say for Adobe Analytics. So when I go to a website, if I want to see so if this is my website, okay, that is running my analytics code. In that case, if I have activity map enabled for all these elements, I can see like how many clicks are happening here. Only the elements that are tracked by Adobe, for that I can see like what are the number of clicks that are going on. I can see it live on the website here itself. Obviously, that data is there in Workspace, but if you want to see like a heat map visualization, you can view it on the page. Then there is an object called as S object, which you can use in any rules and data elements. I'll tell you what all things are available under the S object, but it encompasses every function in analytics that we want to use. So you might have heard often about S.tl, S.t. These are all like TL and T function are coming from S object. S object has the entire app measurement initialization. So if you want to use it at other places, you can say make tracker globally accessible and you can use it at different places. Now use the library already installed on the page. If there is a library already installed on the page, you can select that. In that case, you don't um, need to select like manage the library for me. It automatically, as I selected this, all the report suite and everything went away. Now I will select set the following report suite on tracker and provide the report suite. So if there's an app measurement library already on the page, you just want to do some configuration for that, select this. But first thing, like if you are doing a fresh implementation, you'll select a manage library for me option. And here you can also provide some custom code in the custom code section, or if you are setting it some setting all the code in some JavaScript library, you can provide a custom like URL to fetch that. So I am saying app measurement repeatedly. So app measurement is the library which has all the things that we are sending to Adobe, our report suite information, the rules that are working, the data that we are capturing, everything is there within app measurement library. Earlier, when there was no tag manager, so what used to happen is when I want to implement tracking on this page, I'll include. So if you see currently here, we'll have the launch library, this library. So earlier we had that app measurement library. We used to download that from Adobe Analytics and then have it over some URL and then have it on page. Mm, Then if we had Adobe Target, there's 80.js. So we used to have 80.js library separately. Similarly, if we had Facebook, LinkedIn tags, all those were there on page, managed by us. But now with Tag Manager, we have removed all the different libraries. It was too much of manual work to manage it. Every time it was like if we need to do anything, we had to create a new build for the entire website, because that's a part of the code that we are writing on the side. But now it's too easy to manage and it's less of coding. So every company is now using some sort of tag manager to do that. So I'll again select manage the library for me. Then we'll go to general settings. So this is pre-populated like ASCII character set, currency code. Currency code you can change. If you have some retail specific website or any website where you are saving or collecting some data related to cost in dollars, INR, anything. So you can set the currency code here. But keep in mind, no matter what the currency code you set here, there when I was creating report suite, I told you about an option in that report suite creation interface where we have to specify the currency code. So no matter what you specify here, finally it's converted to the report suite currency. So this is a question in Adobe Analytics certification that comes up every time that I have let's say dollar selected here under currency code, and in the report suite setting in Adobe Analytics interface I have selected the currency code as INR. So in workspace report, how will you see the data? Will it be in dollar or in INR? So it will be in INR. Whatever value is there in the report suite setting, that takes over the priority over this. Then here you can give your tracking server. So this is provided by Adobe. Whenever you purchase a license for data collection and analytics, they provide the tracking server value as well. So where will your data go? So that server is provided here. I can show you on Costco like what's the tracking server value, but for your company you can check it. From here, check. They are just using this metrics.costco.com. For Morgan Stanley, it should be something else. Yeah, so here on Morgan Stanley, you can see it's metrics.morganstanley.com. In Costco, it's also metrics.costco.com. There are two tracking server. One is the secure one is the unsecure one. So you'll see S and like non-S value. Here, when I just typed s.tracking server, it's showing metrics.morganstanley.com. So everything, as I said, is under S object. So if I need to access any function or any object, I need to type like S dot. So if I type tracking server secure, it will give me the secure tracking server as matrix.morganstanley.com. So, and there is like different tracking server for every site. For some places, it could be like it's not necessary. It should always have like Costco.com or morganstanley.com, the website domain. It could be some other path as well.
Who will
Now,
provide tracking server details?
Adobe.
Adobe will provide. Okay.
Yeah. So it's provided only once, and then every property that you create, you need to use the same tracking server for entire account. It's just one.
Okay.
Then here we'll have the global variables. So all the evars and props that you need to fire on every page, you can define it here. You can either define it in rules also, like every rule you can say like evar1 is my page URL. Okay, so I'm capturing page URL in evar1, and I want page URL to be captured on every page. Obviously the value will change, but I want that URL to be captured on every page. So either every rule that I'm creating, I can say I want to include evar1, or you can define it in global variables as well. Now, for other settings, like if you want to give some page name data element, so page name by default, if you are not defining anything, it captures page URL. You need to define explicitly like what do you want as page name. Some people define page name as document.title. So if I type document.title, yeah, so this might be a page name for someone, or for this page, they will hard code it as home if it's welcome to Costco Wholesale, and for other pages, it will be something else. So you can pass this value as a data element and then select a data element. So we have not covered data elements, so I'll cover it lately, but it's just like you can capture any value here and pass that value in the form of data element. Then you can also pass site section value as channel. Site section is what section of the page you are in currently. Then referrer is what is the previous mm, page when the user came to this page. So if I'm coming from Google, in Google, if I'm just searching for Costco, okay, and then I'm clicking on this link and coming to Costco.com. So it will, let me show you practically what will be the referrer value. So you can check it by dot referrer. See www.google.com. So how did I land on the website? That information is there in referrer variable. So again, I'll create a data element with this information and pass to it. For site section, you can use data layer. Then state zip, or you don't need to pass this. This information is auto collected. Any kind of geolocation information is auto collected by Adobe. Then if it's a retail website, for every order page, you can pass the transaction ID here. So these are like global variables. I like for me, I've never seen a scenario where transaction ID is available on every page. So no need to pass it as global variable. In whichever rule you want to pass transaction ID, just create it there. So the options are provided, but use it wisely. Some people also, instead of transaction ID, they have they identify orders with the purchase ID. So that can be passed. This dynamic variable is an important concept. So okay. Now we are passing some EVAR values and prop values on the page. So everything that we pass is like this in the form of payload. Right? This is the information that is getting passed to Adobe Analytics from the page. Now under payload, I can see it in a simplified format. It will show me some data and some other is just available in this header information. So let's say I want to pass this particular EBAR 70 value in a prop also. So there are two ways of doing it. Either directly pass that as, let's say I want to pass this in prop 70. So I'll say prop 70 and I'll assign that value in a rule. So you can directly assign that, or what you can do, because why to just repeatedly like send the same value, because it will increase the request URL size. For this small amount of data, it won't be that significant, but still the request size will increase. So to decrease that and pass duplicate information, we can do one thing. I can say d equal to, and I can pass the value. Let's say I want to pass a value into a prop. So prop is identified by C and EVARS is identified by V. In this request, when I'm filtering by B/SS, this is the analytics request. In this request, whatever is like C, that's prop, whatever is V is EVAR. In launch, we are passing it as EVAR1, prop1, like that. But at the end, in payload, under network tab, it will show up like this. So if you want to pass one value into another, what you can do, simply say dynamic variable, it's the prefix d equal to, and then you will pass a value c equal to c 70 equal to v 70. Okay, so you can pass dynamic variable like that in Adobe Analytics, just to reduce any like page length size. So you can just give like, sorry, I'm giving this. I need to pass this into C70. So I'll give like D equal to V70. Doing it wrong. Just check the Adobe syntax as well. I don't remember syntaxes, but yeah, it will be something like s dot prop, let's say 70 equal to D equal to V70. Yeah, this would be the right format. So any value from EVAR 70 can be passed to prop 70 in this format. Let's say I want to do it reverse. I want to pass a value in EVAR and copy it from a prop. Say D equal to C and whatever is the number of the prop. So that way. So you can pass values like that. This will, like in report, you will actually see whatever value was there in prop 4. If it was mobile and EVA center, you'll see mobile. It's just that from the payload perspective, it will pass the value like this, and then backend it knows that it needs to copy this value, copy this variable value, so it will copy that. I'll just confirm the syntax once. Just give me a minute. That's right. So yeah, this is how you can pass different values. I'll also show it in rules, but here you are setting that dynamic variable prefix. You can also change it, but keep it by default D because that's identifiable and there in Adobe documentation. Then for link tracking, these are the important option if you want to track all download links. Okay, so you'll check track download links. Whatever extensions are there here, those links will be um, counted as downloads in Adobe. So whenever I'm doing a link tracking, mm, let's see if this button is getting tracked. Yeah. So this is a link tracking call where I'm clicking on a carousel right arrow. So it is capturing these variables. This is the event. Now you'll see here there is something called as PELNK underscore O. So this means that this is a custom link. If it was a download, it will be LNK underscore D. If it was an exit links are when I'm clicking on link that takes me external to a website. So if I'm going to another domain from morganstanley.com through a link on Morgan Stanley, that interaction will be captured as lnk underscore e. So that is the way to debug that the current call that is firing, whether it's a custom link tracking, download, or exit link. So here these extension, like if it's docx as the path or jpg png as an images, so all these extensions will be tracked as download links. You don't, if you want to pass some custom evars and props, you can do that through rules, but this will be like auto tracked whatever you are giving here if this option is checked. Same thing for exit links or outbound links. If you want to track exit links, you can say that never track. If this website is Costco.com where I'm implementing it, I'll just say never track Costco.com. So anything with Costco.com that will be considered as internal. Any other thing will be considered as external. If I want to specifically give that track these links as external, like you can give that as well. Or if there are other domains that you want to track as internal and not external, just specify it here. And if you want to keep the URL parameters when so URL parameters are the query string parameters. So like this Costco.com question mark UTM ID equal to test. So this is our query string parameter, URL parameter. If you want to keep that in the URL, don't trip it off. So you can add that as well. So this will keep the URL parameters when you are doing a link tracking. Any kind of cookies can be defined here if you want to have, like, let's say a custom visitor ID on the page. You don't want to use the default ECID. So that value you can pick it up through the data element from a cookie and then define it here. And you can also set like for what will be the lifetime of the cookie. So use the default one, whatever is coming from that cookie value that you are selecting from data element. Or if you want, you can set it at visitor level or just for some seconds you can set it. So these options are not used much. Domain periods is again important. So if it's Costco.com, then you don't need to change any domain period value. But if it's, let's say, let me think of an example with three values. Amazon is also like Amazon.in. So I'll just take some random value that this is the domain name, any example, and I'm selecting dot co dot in. So if you're tracking anything on this kind of domain where there is where there are like two dots, so here it was just like Costco.com. So this means that your cookie domain period is 2. But if it's a domain like this, where you have like two values or more values, then that value will be three. So number of items, one, two, three. So this will be cookie domain period as three. So by default it's two. So if you are tracking any domain like this, you don't need to specify domain periods. But if you are tracking some domain like this, you need to set it to that number. So for that example.co.uk, I need to set it to 3. So this is important. Visit ID use only when you're specifying any custom visit ID, and same thing with visitor namespace, that the variable through which you are defining the visit ID, that you can select here. So this is not that important, but domain period, please be specific. If it's two, don't do anything. It will work by default, it's two, but if it's something else, specify it. Now, another important option here is this. Here we can write all the JavaScript code that we want to include in our tracking. So, giving a use case for this. Uh, in global variables, you are defining all the variables that you want to define on every page load wherever this launch library is firing along with Adobe Analytics extension. But let's say I want to track any variable, maybe just say experience cloud ID on every interaction, be it form submission, be it page view, be it click on a button, I want to capture the visitor ID. So in that case, we have to have if all the code written here, okay, in the JavaScript code under a plugin section. So plugins also we'll cover. Plugins are something that provides us some functionalities, which are, let's say if I want to know how many new or repeat visitor were there on the website. So I can write a custom code and by checking like what was the visitor number. If it was one, then define as new. If it was something else, define as um, repeat visitor. So I can write a code for that. But for some things like this, like get new, repeat kind of scenario, Adobe Analytics has provided us some inbuilt plugins. When we use those plugins, we can directly get the value whether it was new or repeat visitor. So we'll cover the important plugins. But within the plugins, you can also define variables that are truly global. Truly global means that you need to define on every interaction. So those kind of things you can do from here, or anything that you want to do on all rules, or even not on all rules. If you want to write some custom JavaScript with an if else condition, that also you can do here. But most common use case is for writing plugins and having some global variables within it. So this is the place where we can write any custom code. Now, if you are using Audience Manager, then you will use this option, automatically share analytics data with Audience Manager. So whatever data you are collecting with Adobe Analytics, if you want to send that to Audience Manager, you will select this checkbox, and then this Audience Manager subdomain is can be provided by Adobe whenever you have an audience manager contract. So you can include that subdomain here. This is not website domain. This is the audience manager subdomain. It will be something like this. The name of your account. So you can check that with Adobe for your site. Only if you are subscribed to Audience Manager and give that here. There are also some advanced settings like container, NSID, UUID cookie. So all these values we can check with Adobe and fill in here. And so this is called as server-side forwarding when we want to forward any analytics data to Audience Manager.